Hi everyone. Do we have to introduce ourselves or do we just go? Oh, we're timed. Oh, okay. Apps in the early years. Next. Okay, so we've got like a little mission statement for ourselves here. So we're presenting together because we've been doing a lot of work with iPads. Erin teaches preps and I teach grade 2s. We've done a lot of work in the last couple of years. So these are some of the things that we've found out for ourselves, I guess, that young students can produce amazing things using iPads. I think a lot of the time people get a bit like, oh, you know, they're just in prep, maybe they won't be able to use it, or that app's too hard for them or whatever. It's not. They can do everything. Next point, they're very, very capable. Also, tech can help make learning more student-centered, and a lot of the stuff that we've been doing is about student choice and kids deciding what apps they want to use, what technology they want to use, how they're going to use it. And the last thing, we can easily use technology to redefine learning. So thinking about like the summer ladder and how we can apply that to what we're doing with technology. Ooh, taking photos of us.
Going viral.
So I'm just going to explain a few different apps that I used in one lesson the other day with my kids. So it was a grade 2 lesson for maths, and the learning intention was we are learning to rename a 3-digit number, and I will be able to show how many hundreds, tens, and ones are in my number, and show the number different ways using an app of my choice. That should say mine. So first of all, we talked about that once we'd done our focus and everything. We talked about, well, what apps are you going to use? What do you want to do? I hadn't picked them beforehand. So the kids actually negotiated those apps. So straight away, someone said Poplet. That's one that we've used before. No problems. Everyone wanted to use that as soon as it was mentioned. Then someone said Pit Collage, same thing again. Everyone changed that. Everyone wanted to use that one. And then one of the kids suggested this other app, and I had no idea what it was. I'm like, oh, it's the red one. It's got little green things down the side. And I'm like, no, that's not a good one. No, don't use that. And like, no, get into it. I'm like, no, that's not the one, because clearly I did actually have something in my mind. But then they showed it to me, and it turned out to be this awesome app I didn't even know they had. That was base 10 blocks, and you could just swipe them onto the screen and move them around and write stuff on there and everything. So I didn't have a little card for it, but I had to draw a little icon for it because they were allowed to use that because it sounded amazing. And then the last one was Sketch, which I really didn't want them to use, but I thought, you know what? I said to you guys, you can have choice. So if you can show me that Sketch is going to be helpful for you, great, let's go with that. So they had to negotiate the ones that they wanted to choose, and I said that they could only have 3 to choose out of as a whole class, and they would each work individually to do that. So that's how we got to those 3 ones. I had a few others that I thought would be good, but those ones turned out to be awesome. So I'll just run you through 3 of the apps that they used. Poplet's the first one. Has anyone used Poplet before? So it's like a mind mapping tool. There's a picture of what you might do with it. So you can add text into it. You can add little drawings, which is a little bit fiddly. You can see it up the top there. There's a drawing of some MAB, super good quality. You can add images in, not videos, but images. And you can show the links between lots of different things. And it's really cool because when you move a box, all the links sort of move around it. So it's really good visually for mind mapping and things like that. And I use that a lot in maths. And they said that they chose it. I said, well, why would you choose Poplet when you could just make a mind map in your maths book? What's the point of that? And they said, well, we want to take pictures of our materials. So I was like, sweet, that's perfect. So they added, they had their maths materials, so they've added like a picture of their MAB. This is a number expander, you can't see it very well. That was their first time using a number expander, so they wanted to show what they'd done with it. So they added that in, and also then they app smashed and used another, that's that little app that I said I didn't know about. There's the little MABs, and they stuck that picture in there as well. So that went really, really well, and I can see for their first lesson on renaming exactly what they could do. And yeah, cool. Any questions for Poplet before I move on? No? Sweet. So then the next one they chose was Pit Collage, which is basically just a collage tool, and it makes things really pretty. So you can put text in, you can put pictures in, little stickers, things like that. Not a lot more, but it looks really, really good. So it's really good for presentation, and they use it for publishing, writing, and making posters and things like that a lot. So this is what one of the kids has used, and you can see his app smashed. If you don't know what that means, it's just using one app and another app and putting something from this app into that one and using them together to create something more awesome. So he's just added in his pictures of the MAB these templates, I'm calling them the wrong thing, and showed me what he could do, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. So that's pic collage. And then the last one, which is not the one that I explained at the start, but the last one was some of the kids said to me, once they'd made their pic collage or their poplet, they're like, but I want to talk about what I'm doing. And they're talking about using iMovie. And I said, no, maybe we can find something better. So I challenged a couple of kids and said, just get into this app, explain everything, and see if you can do what you want to do. Because they wanted to make a recording to talk about what they were doing so they could show me, which was cool. We'd never used the app before, but I just said to them, just get into it, have a fiddle, see if you can work out what to do. And I think a lot of that comes back to the fact that, you know, you get into the app and you think, oh, I'm going to have to teach them how to do this. I've got to push that button. You've got to do this to add a photo, all of that. You don't have to do that with them. All you have to say to them is, what button would you push to add something? And they can see a little plus sign. They want to add it in, and then they know exactly what to do. So even though I think it's one of the trickiest apps that they use, they did not need any help from me. They were straight into it, did exactly what they wanted to do. So for Explain Everything, basically it makes a movie, and just reading off the screen. So the video is captured from what's happening on your screen, so you can put images in there or little videos, different things happening, but you can also draw on the screen and annotate. And while you're doing that and while it's recording, you can also speak and talk about what you're doing. So, and it's really, really good for assessment. Erin and I have used it a lot for assessment because you can get the kids to work independently and you don't have to be there with them. They can just send it to you afterwards and you can have a look at what they were doing in their work time and see if they actually understood, see what they were doing, what their thought process was. So I'm just going to show you a really short video of what one of my kids did. They put their pic collage, I think, into Explain Everything. How do you make it play there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, okay, that was so hard. Huh?
This is when I'm using my base 10 blocks. This is how I chunk it into 60, 20, and 0. I've used my squishy things here. And here I've made it using base 10 blocks. This is me.
It went on a lot longer. Every single thing, but we probably don't need to see them all. So, can I get back, Erin? Or just back?
No, I think it's out. It's in another window.
Okay, what is this? Okay, sweet. I think that was the end of the things I wanted to say. Does anyone have any questions about those apps or anything? No? Erin?
All right, sweet. So basically, I've just introduced iPads to my preps about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it was week 6. So they haven't had much exposure. So basically, I just want to show sort of what preps actually can do, that they are capable, and if you have sort of the high expectations, what you can get out of them, even though at this stage they can't read or write or they don't have those skills, but they can speak and you can use those skills. So I'm going to showcase a bit of a lesson I did yesterday. So we're working on retelling at the moment. So we're working on retelling the story. At this stage of the year, we're focusing on using pictures, puppets, any sort of props to actually prompt them, not just their memory of the memory of their story. So basically, we've been doing some retelling for a few days. So we went through our learning intention, which was to say what happened in the story. I have a lot of EAL kids, so the word retell is sort of throwing them off a bit at the moment. So I've gone back to basics. And what their success criteria is to make a story, and that was by sequencing pictures into a story map, record their voices, and attempt to use the words first, then next, and last. So the kids chose Book Creator. They wanted to use Magnabets, but we talked about how you can't actually add photos or record or anything in that. They hadn't used Telegami, so that was a new one. I actually only had one that went for Book Creator. So I will show her a sample. So this girl, has a bit of a speech problem and a language problem as well, and is having a lot of difficulty in the class with attention. So using the iPads, I've found I'm actually able to grab her attention for a longer period of time. So the speech is a little bit off, but you can see what she's doing. And yeah, so this is through Book Creator.
The mommy said, go off and build her own house. Mama said, to her little house. Yep. First, they build their own house. Then the frogs blew the straw house down.
Well done.
And the bad wolf blew the stick house down. Then the fox blew the brick house down. Then he put that in the chimney and he went in the water, but he felt too hot. Then he burst out from the chimney.
All right, so that's the example for Book Creator. So basically, they'll just go back into here. In Book Creator, you can make ebooks, iBooks, or save it as a video. So that she actually had a little bit of assistance there because I was working with most of the grade with the Telegami. But they've used Book Creator once or twice, and most of them have got the hang of it. So it's extremely easy for kids to use, and they can also publish to iBooks, and get their work out there and publish. So the second app we used was Telegami. Does anyone really use Telegami at all? A couple people. So Telegami allows you to create an animated message. It's called Agami. So they create their own character and their scene and record their voice, and then you're able to show it, share it to social media, so to Twitter, straight to Twitter or Facebook, or through email or text straight away. So my kids loved this. So this example is one of my EAL kids. So I thought I'd choose an EAL kid because I've got about 11 of them, and it's assisting them a lot in their oral language. So I'll play a little bit of a clip. So that was their storyboard in the background as well. So they did that before.
First, the mom said, build your own house, and then they built their own house, and the big bad wolf came, and then they blew the house down, and then the big bad wolf blew the sticks down, and then the big bad wolf blew the bricks down but it's too strong. And then the big bad wolf went to the chimney, and then he's going into the hot water, but it's very, very hot.
So most of my kids, 1 minute, no worries. Most of my kids use Telegami. So after that, I sort of just roamed around, but it was only introducing them to the first session. We sat on the floor and took photos together of our story maps, and I've discussed, this is how you change the background, this is how you change your character, this is how you record your voice, and they're still 4 and 5 years old, and they were able to then go to their tables, work with their partners, take photos, do all of that, and then come back with a finished product for us to save on their iPads. So yeah, most of them were able to do that in the session by themselves. So, yeah. That's it, I think.
Any questions for Erin or Emily? Yep, great. I did forget to mention before that we're on Twitter. Hashtag is TMMelb. Lots of tweets.
Did you want that now for?
No, Dorinda's next up. So next up we have Dorinda. Talking about the iPad app Nearpod. So welcome, Dorinda.
Sorry, guys. Okay, before I start, if you have a computer or an iPad that is connected to the internet, you can go into Safari or Google and type in Nearpod. click on the first link, and then it will ask you for a code or a PIN, and just put this code into your device.
I won't start the timer. I'll be nice.
Or-
Cheetah.
Oh, no.
Why is it saying that I've got no use?
Saying that to me too.
Rob's back. I think. I just came back.
Uh-oh.
Why is that working? Excursion yard duty cover.
Put it where it says join session.
Yes, except I'll have to get the code back up. How she would have decided to stop working.
GY. And is it live?
There we go. Technical difficulties.
You managed it well. Let me know when you're ready and I'll start.
I'm on my phone.
Oh, that's okay.
Stand forward.
Okay, we're all good to go. So, why Nearpod? Well, it's an interactive program that is easy for students to use. You can easily see the students' answers, and other students can see the answers as well, if it's on the big screen. But on their iPads, they can only see their own answers. You can use the same slides show throughout the week. So if I stop this slideshow now, I could just pause it, and if I wanted to use it again tomorrow from the same point, I could press resume and the kids can put in the same code and we can just keep going from where we left off. So I don't have to start the whole thing again and go through it all again. And the last thing, the students can answer the questions in different ways. So what can you have for the kids to answer on? You can add content like photos or videos, audio or different activities like quizzes and open-ended answers. You can also add in filling in the missing blanks, draw it, and polls. What do I need for Nearpod? All you need is, it's free. So you can use most of those options, except for the audio one. After a free trial, you have to pay for it. But the rest of it's free. If you're wanting to become a member, it costs $10 a month. And all you need is an email address and a computer. Okay, I have put the picture up on your screen for you so that we can all just have a go at using Nearpod. So if you want to have a read through the information on here, I'll give you maybe a minute or 30 seconds. Let's see how fast readers you are. And then I'll change and ask you a question about it, just to show you the different things we can do during Nearpod.
The internet's dropped out again. That's right, some people might be.
If you do want to relog back into it, the pin is at the top of the screen. So you should be able to connect your Are we ready? Yep. Yeah. While they're answering the questions, because I have an Apple TV, I just freeze the TV so the picture and the text stays on the TV so they can refer to the text while they're answering the question. But because I can't freeze it, it's not happening. But that's what I would normally do so that the students can still go back and reread the text and have the question there at the same time. We have a couple more people to answer. I'll give you about 30 more seconds and then we'll okay, maybe not even 30 more seconds.
Done.
Okay, I'm just going to keep going because we don't have much time. So, next question is, which is the best subject to teach? I put this in here to show you how you could use a poll to ask the students sort of different questions and just compare their answers. So when you're using this poll in Nearpod, you're also teaching them about reading information in graphs and interpreting graphs because they can see the information come up in a pie graph over here, as well as people's answers.
Yeah, I am big guy.
So as you can probably see, as people are putting their answers in, the colours on the side, which have the different options on it, are changing up the top so you can see the percentage of people liking each option. I'm just going to keep moving because I've only got a minute left. Next one is draw a picture of what you feel like when you are planning. So this is again just to show you how the kids can interact with Nearpod in different ways. So it caters for different learning abilities and learning types.
I don't know what, how do you get rid of
Please scroll down and say
That was your time during that, so I'm not good at this. No, just quickly.
Okay guys, I'm going to have to keep going because my time is up. But this is another type of quiz. So I just wanted to ask if you have any questions, so you can either put your hand up and tell me, or you can type it in and I'll be able to read them. So did anybody have any questions about Nearpod? Sorry, it was such a quick flash. I find it's very, very easy to use the app and to make the slideshows. You literally just go in there and it'll tell you, instruct you step by step what you need to do. So are there any questions?
Excellent. Thanks,
No.
Dorinda. Okay, next up we have Danny. Is it here? Yeah.
I went home.
And Danny is going to talk to you about his blog and blogging. Yay. What? Ah. Yeah.
Just trying to reload this. So just bear with me.
You ready?
Okay. Okay, I'm ready. All right. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Danny. I'm a graduate teacher here at Aitken Creek, and I teach a grade 3 class. What I'm talking about today is just my experiences with blogging and how it's helped me in my professional learning. Just my beginnings with blogging. So I first started blogging at university, so it was a course requirement that we had to blog. Wasn't really used to its full potential as a Web 2 tool, but I really liked being able to share my ideas with my peers and being able to interact with others and use the multimodal tools that it afforded us as well. So this is actually one of my first blogs that we did with a couple of peers at university just on digital literacy. Really riveting stuff. So my next steps was back in 2013, I was lucky enough to go to Kathmandu in Nepal to teach for 3 weeks. And that was through university as well. And one of the requirements was that we had to keep a reflective journal. As well as that, I wanted to be able to keep in touch with my family and friends and let them know what was happening, as there was a lot of political instability while I was over there. So I decided to start up my blog. So that gave me a really good opportunity to reflect on my thoughts and my feelings, anything that was really strange and unusual that I was facing in this third world country, putting it down into paper and being able to let people know how things were going. The self-reflection process from that blog was a really good opportunity for me to be able to vent. So my thoughts and feelings, get everything off my chest, anything that I wanted to say. I really liked being able to do that. I felt like, to me, it was therapeutic to get those thoughts out into the open, let the whole world see them. You know, don't hide anything. It also allowed me to look at what I was doing through a critical lens so that I could improve my practice. With blogging as well, I've found that the peer feedback has become really important. So I'm actually able to interact with people, other educators from around the world, who might be able to give me advice on, you know, any problem that I'm having as a teacher. Someone might be able to help or give some sort of advice. In turn, I'm able to actually give that feedback back to others. And I've actually found with my cohort from university, and we all still keep in touch through Facebook, I'm able to share my blog, they're able to read it, give feedback to me, and I'm able to in turn give feedback back to them as well. It's a good way to keep in touch with your friends as well when you're so far away from them. It's given me an opportunity to expand my professional learning network. So Ms. Spink here actually introduced me to a PLN. I didn't know what one was a year ago. So with that, I've just started local, just with my peers from university, from other teachers that I've encountered during prac placements, and started local. And then from there, I've been able to build it up with, you know, big PLN, new teachers around the state, around the country, and around the world as well, particularly on Twitter with sharing the blogs. And in turn, I'm able to share my ideas and experiences and help me to strive for best practice. So the new opportunities that blogging has helped me with. So there's Your Edu Story, which is a blogging challenge. So it's a 12-month blogging challenge where every week there's a new blogging topic relating to education. So that's given me an opportunity to talk to other teachers around the world and see how they reflect on different things that they might might encounter during their teaching career. And I find that really interesting because, like I said, I am only a graduate, and it gives me a good insight into what I can expect down the track. Twitter chats as well. So I've been on a few Twitter chats now, and just going to and fro with different ideas, talking about blogging, talking about using apps in classrooms and things like that. I've become not intentionally, but a lot of peers have been coming to me asking me for advice about how I blog. And it's not necessarily about education as well. So just recently I've had a friend of a friend approach me to help them with their AFL footy tipping blog. And if you know me well enough, you know that I know nothing about AFL. I'm from New South Wales, I'm from rugby league country, so it was pretty foreign, but it was pretty good to be asked, to be able to share what I've learned. And of course today being able to come up and present at a Teach Meet meeting as well. So where to next? I want to continue with my class blogging, so really trying to engage my students in using the blog as a learning collaborative tool, not just for homework tasks, which is sort of where I've started at, but I'm able to now look ahead and see how I might be able to use it a bit more in the future to help them. Continuing to share my thoughts and experiences. Particularly as a graduate teacher, I want to be able to help other graduates in the future if I can, just based on what I've learned here so far. Continue to extend my PLN and just promote the benefits of blogging, not just for professional use, but for personal use as well. So the advice that I might have for new teachers, really get out there and try to connect with others, because it's amazing what you can learn from such a huge variety of people in a huge variety of places. Really take the time to reflect on your practice. Like I said before, it gives you a chance to look at everything through a critical lens. Start small, build an audience. That audience will become your PLN, so they're the people that you're going to be bouncing ideas off. Don't write about things that are boring to you, because if it's boring to you, chances are it's boring to your readers as well. So write about what's interesting to you. Be consistent, but don't be upset if you're not, because what I've found, especially with the blogging challenge, is you really try to make the time once a week to do the challenge that you've set yourself, but it's not always going to happen because work will take over, family will take over, life takes over. And really try and get the class blog going. So I love working with my class blog. Kids love it. It only takes 10 minutes a week, really. You can sit down with your class and share ideas. Okay, what are we going to write about? What are we going to tell our parents? What are we going to tell the world? And yeah, just finally, they're the blogs that I sort of have going. That's my main one, the top one. But yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Next up we have Heather. Heather is going to talk about the topic, are you a connected?
It's such a beautiful segue from Dan.
Perfect.
And once again, people who know that we've done this before. Beck and I connected very much last year when we were both studying the same course, and I'm still studying the same course, doing a different subject now. And I'm here to actually crowdsource some information for a project that I've got to do for my subject. So I have to make a video. Well, I'm going to make a video about being a connected educator. I'm going to look specifically at Google Plus as the tool for that. But I'm really looking for some input from anybody. So Dan, I would really, really appreciate your input, because I thought one of your slides, I could have just put that all in to my survey. Hopefully that's big enough to read. I'll tweet it out anyway. I'm just looking about the ways that people do connect. There's blogging is one way, through Twitter, through Google Communities, through Facebook. Coming to events like Teach Meets is another way of becoming a connected educator. It's all about connecting with people beyond just your own school, really. So if you think you fit into that category and you've got anything you could say to anybody else who perhaps doesn't already do that, I'd really appreciate your input. The survey is not difficult, it's not particularly long, and there's only like 2 questions that are actually compulsory, and they're just kind of yes-no things that that are easy. So if you don't feel like answering all the questions, that's absolutely fine. That's really all I've got to say. See, I knew I only needed 2 minutes. So, I'll be tweeting out that link more as well. So I look forward to seeing it, and perhaps I'll share the actual final product at another Teach Week down the track if it's any good.
That'd be great. Thanks, Heather. We'll just stop for a 5 or 10 minute break, eat all the food, and then we'll get started. We'll come back with, we have first up Candace after the break. Yay!
Well, this is Alex. So shut Alex.
So this is Candace. Candace is another teacher here at Aitken Creek, and she's talking about global read aloud and connecting with others. Welcome, Candace.
So this came about, Global Read Aloud is an event that takes place in October every year. I actually stumbled across it last year. I was teaching another school with a year 1-2 class, and wanted to find a way to connect them with other classes so they could see that there was a world out there, and our writing was purposeful, and we could not just write for each other but for somebody else, and we could talk about our reading and learning as well. So through Twitter and through a few other places like blogs and things, I stumbled across the Global Read Aloud. A United States teacher by the name of Pernille Rip started it in 2010. Basically what it is she came across 3 or 4 chapter books that she thought would be really good to use in a range of different class levels. And she also chose an author and chose 5 or 6 picture books from that author. And so herself and the other teachers that were involved in the first year could choose one of the books or the author to do an author study. And they basically connected their classes and talked about what they were doing in class to promote their reading skills and learning, and basically connected that way. So it wasn't just a basic cultural connection, it was also a learning connection as well. With 7 minutes, I actually don't have time to show this video, but if you YouTube the link and just type in what is the Global Read Aloud, Pernille's actually done a little 2-minute video of just her talking about why she started the event and what the purpose is and everything like that. But I pulled out some of it here. So last year with my Year 1-2 class, we looked at the author study, and our author was Peter H. Reynolds. If you've ever heard of him, he wrote the books The Dot, Going Places, Ish, Sky Colour, a lot of amazing picture books with really deep main ideas that you can and messages coming through, and they actually work across all the way up into secondary college. We actually were talking with a class at one stage last year with a Year 9 class in, I think it was May in America. We sent a few emails back and forth because they have actually chosen to do the author study as well. We basically just shared with the few classes we were connecting with what we were doing in class. So we didn't even try and do the same thing as they did. We talked about how we were making connections and what our connections were. We talked about what we were visualizing and predicting as we were reading. We shared photos and videos and little audio pieces of what we had done in class, and they did the same thing. So we were actually connected to about 7 classes all across North America last year. My co-teacher last year also connected to a class in, I want to say Seoul, but I may be misguided with that. And we use lots of different connections as well. So introducing my Year 1-2 class to things like email, Padlet, KidBlog, Edmodo, and then introducing them to the other classes' blogs as well. It was interesting to see how the world connected. The Global Read Aloud, that was actually the map at the end of the Read Aloud last year. They connected with over, I want to say 16,000, but I'm probably wrong, students across the world. It was a lot. And I'm already planning to take part this year. There is a website where everything's on it if you're actually interested in looking at it. It's really simple to sign up. All you have to do is just put your details into a Google form, and Pernille adds your email address to information. And as she updates the website, she sends it out. You can connect as much or as little as you want. My co-teacher last year connected with that one class. I was a bit more ambitious, connected with a lot more. But the best thing I loved about it was like just doing things like this Skype session with my Year 1-2s and having an American class and an American teacher read the Peter Reynolds book to the kids. And then we talked about what we thought the story meant. It took 15 minutes, and at the end of it, we shut down and the kids went, they talk funny. And then we had this big conversation about accents and why they talk funny and how they talk funny. And then that class actually sent us a piece of writing they'd done. So the kids were like, let's send them our writing. So all of a sudden, we're not just connecting through books, but they're wanting to share writing with each other. And so we did this Padlet shared writing story where we sort of did an interactive writing model online and sort of got into it. But the best thing was it's 6 weeks, so it wasn't a whole year. So it was something I found very easy to access in that way. I knew it was for a set time. It was sort of the end of term 3 or term 4. And there's absolutely no pressure. I also know of a teacher that started it and just got bombarded, and she's just said, look, we ended up doing it, but we shared with the class next door to us in school, and that was okay. But it's a great way to start connecting your class with others if that's something you're interested in. And the books and the author that they choose are actually really good to explore with your kids, I find, anyway. The chapter books that they had up last year, they're on the website if you were interested in them. And if I had have had a more senior class last year, I actually think I would have done all 4 of them as read alouds throughout the year because they were just really, really cool books, even for me to read personally. So, yeah, really it's just a bit of a promotion for an event that can link your kids with outside, and it's really simple and easy. And I found Peter H. Reynolds' books out of it, which I'm going to use for the rest of my teaching career because they're awesome. So, yeah, thanks.
Okay, next up we have Caitlin. Caitlin's from Clara in Sunbury, talking about a family blogging afternoon. Thanks, Caitlin. Yay.
All right. Good. Okay. I actually made this presentation last year, so yeah, this is how long I've been waiting to present it. So a long time to come on, first time presenter. Yeah, and I apologise for my bare feet. It's just shoes annoying me at the moment. So I'm just talking about, I thought about long and hard about what I could present at a Teach Meet. And I thought there's nothing I have that could be interesting to everybody else. And then Beth put up her post about, well, we would be working together on the next meeting together. And we talked about, okay, maybe sharing some successes in the classroom. So I thought this went really well for my kids last year, so I'm going to share about this. So I've been blogging with my class for 2-3 years now. I started it after attending APD down in Leopold with, if you're getting into class blogging, I highly recommend looking up Kathleen Morris. Okay, she's a guru with class blogs, and so all my ideas have come from her, and this is what we do in the teaching world, is steal other people's ideas. We don't claim them as our own, of course. So I had to think about how I was going to invite the families. Was it going to be digital? Was it going to be paper? Kids, for some reason, like making the paper invitations. They love all the fancy flaps and 3D things that they can do. I had no idea how many parents would even come, being that it was in the middle of the afternoon. It started at 2:30. What if they hated the idea? What if they thought, I can't do blogging, I'm not going to be able to do it, so I'm not going to come? Which is the attitude that sometimes a lot of adults can have. Okay, they don't know something, so they put up these walls and don't want to give it a try. Yeah, so all these what if questions. So on the afternoon, I planned out a sequence of, okay, well, I'm going to get the parents in, I'm going to get the kids to fiddle around with their computers, show them a couple of things we've been doing, and then I was going to get them really hooked in with a blogging quiz. And it was fantastic. And then the kids were going to show parents how to leave a good quality comment. We talked a lot about that in my class last year, and it's not just, it's not a chat forum. It's not there for you to speak the way you would through text message. It's there to show and develop your English skills as well. Okay, so there are many benefits of blogging, and literacy skills being one of them. Okay, it's also there to launch our family blogging month, which got a lot of parents on board as well. And I'm spewing that I did this in August last year. Had I done it at the start of the year, I think I would have had a lot more family involvement throughout the year as well. Okay, so the blogging quiz was just 10 questions, but it involved visiting our blog and visiting the blogs of other classes that we connected with. We'd Skyped with a couple of classes. I have a friend who's a teacher in Mildura, so we've done a couple of Skype lessons as well. So it involved going to our class, going to other class blogs, and not only going to the blogs, but reading and going through their information to find answers to their questions. So, for example, one of the questions was how many kids were in 6K in another school. And they actually had to go through their About page to find out how many kids were in that class. So it involved their navigating. There was a couple of questions on cyber safety. So all the links are on our page. We also launched Family Blogging Month, which was another idea which I stole from Kathleen Morris, which she stole from Linda Yollis, who's in the US, who's a brilliant class blogger as well. And I think a lot of people have stolen this idea from her anyway. So, and what we do for Blogging Month is we, each day, a member has to log on to our blog and leave a good quality comment. And each child gets a special code for that. It's depending on whoever left their comment. And the kid at the end with the most comments left on a class blog would get a prize. Just, you've got to have prizes to motivate kids. No. But look, they were really into it anyway, and in the end I just put them a $5 bill and they loved it. The idea was to get as many family members involved with class blogging, and I think it achieved its aim. So, as with anything, we need to evaluate how the session went. So I sent out a Google form through email to the parents. I had 7 respondents. So it was good that I got any, that was good. I was happy with that. So how valuable did you find family blocking afternoon in regards to learning something new? So mostly down the 7+ end, which is good. I didn't question the parents as to why they gave what answer or anything like that. Just like, let them have their say, that's fine. All 7 agreed that it was a good way for the kids to show off their ICT skills, things that they've been learning since the start of the year. We don't have a netbook program, a one-to-one netbook program in the year 3-4 at my school. We had a bank of netbooks, 30 of them, that were shared between 7 classes. So we only had 1 double session per week to access the netbooks, and the skills that these kids learned in 6 months was amazing. Okay, we Skyped with Mel's class at one stage because the kids wanted to learn how to code and how to create their own games. But cool, Mel's going to go on about that. There's some of the feedback that we got from the parents, and so I thought that was really cool. And just the fact that the kids loved being invited into their kids' classroom to spend some time with them and to help them with their learning. Okay, so the reason that I did this, one was to get families involved in the class blog, but also to knock down those classroom walls, because it's one thing that really, that's a nice word of saying shits me. Annoys me as an educator is that people tend to shut off everyone else when it needs to be a collaborative effort, okay, and that involves partnership between teachers with other teachers, teachers with students, and teachers with parents as well, okay? So that's really what I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it. Thank you.
1 minute to spare.
Yes.
Well done. Next up we have Mel. Oh, sorry. Any questions, Caitlin?
No, don't worry.
Can you share all that information?
Certainly can, Dan. I was thinking of you when you were presenting.
Next up is Mel, and Mel is talking about inquiry learning and connecting to the new maybe?
Yes, that's right. And I'm a little bit worried that it's been streamed because I have done one of these presentations before at a Teach Meet in times past. And there's probably people that are watching online who have seen it before. But when I looked at the list of people who was coming, I thought, oh no, I'll be able to do this. What I have done is I've added an extra element to it. So hopefully people who have seen it before will get something from it anyway. So yeah, I'm Mel Cashin. I work at Princess Hill Primary School, which is an inner city school in Melbourne. And I wanted to talk about the digital technologies curriculum, which is coming out soon, and how I've used that with inquiry learning. The new curriculum, the new version or the new set of Ausvels, which should be out in the next couple of months. I know it was meant to start at the start of this year, but I think they've pushed it back a little while just to make sure that everything's all where they want it to be and designed well before they come out. So the next 2 years will be a transition time before we're expected to be fully implementing the new digital technologies curriculum along with the other areas as well. Although we don't have the Auswell's version, I have had a look at it and it is very, very similar to the Australian curriculum version. So if you wanted to get a head start and have a look at it, the Australian curriculum is the place to go and have a look. And that's what I'll sort of show through today, how I linked it to that. I was lucky enough to actually do some piloting of the new curriculum last year. So just sort of coming to terms with the language in it and the expectations of the curriculum, which was really good. But really there's the focus around design, computational thinking, digital systems and using those together. And there's two strands. There's the knowledge and understanding section, which looks at digital systems and data, and then the processes and skills, which are really your design skills that that we know from our design spells already. So what I wanted to do was just talk through the inquiry process that we went through, doing an inquiry around gaming and how do I design and make a good game. That was our inquiry question. And what I've done is I've actually just put in the content descriptor for the year 3-4 level, which is what year level the kids were. So hopefully you'll be able to see as I go through just where the links to the actual curriculum were. And also I've just popped in for some of them the elaboration on that, so where it specifically fits. But we started off looking at different games, different online gaming experiences that the kids had had, and just having a bit of a play really. See what we knew already, what do people in the class know about gaming, what do we like about gaming, what things do we like to play, what things don't we like to play. These are a few kids that are just checking out a making and looking at how they can use that with the game. So they've already crossed off one thing in the curriculum, which is experimenting with different types of digital systems. We then went on and decided, well, we need to go and find and research some information about what makes a good game. What do people think are a good game? What do people like about gaming? What things don't they like about gaming? And at this stage, they're starting to get some themes that were sort of coming out from the students and the different types of gaming platforms they like. This is Gareth, who is using a phone, a wireless connected phone, to call another classroom to ask one of the experts on Scratch, the programming tool, how he does something. So he was investigating as part of his finding out, how does this tool work? How do I learn how to use it? And there again, straight away, he's ticking off another element of that curriculum. One of the things that some of the students did was learn from each other how to play different platforms. So these boys are here doing sort of some peer teaching around Scratch and how to use this program Scratch, learning all of the different stages to it. So they're explaining to each other how to follow technical instructions, another area of the curriculum. They played different games. Part of it was to research the different types of games that are out there and then review them as, against the criteria that they'd set about how they played, the storyline, the music, different elements of it. So they were experiencing all of the different interfaces that they used on different programs and comparing them and reviewing them so they could use that information for themselves. They did some designing and planning for their own games that they wanted to create. So this was one group who were looking at how can you make different worlds within one game? And that's what they wanted to do. So they went off and looked at different games that had worlds, and you can see here how they go up to different levels. So they're planning out and stepping out. So that's the algorithm there. They're stepping out what the different processes of that game is. The first level is a city level with lava. The second level is a strip of jungle. So really thinking about the user experience as part of that. And then just a simple flowchart to show it. This group of boys were looking at music used in gaming. So what they wanted to do was to create some music that went along with their game that people would like. So they've designed a survey here, and this is actually them looking at their survey results coming in live. How long have I got? Coming in live. But they created a form that had 4 different games on it, some of which I'm sure we'll know in here. I think there was Zelda music, there was, got lost now, Mario Brothers, thank you very much. Mario Brothers music. So they had a series of music and then they got people to say which ones they liked best out of it. And then put a little comment at the bottom that said, what do you like about music when you're gaming? Do you turn music off when you're gaming? And why? And what they were able to find out was that people don't like repetitive music in their games. They don't like hearing the same thing all of the time. So they use that learning to then create their own music for a game. So this is just collecting and accessing different types of data. This group of boys looked at arcade games, thank you, and they found that we don't have arcade games around anymore, but everyone wants to play them. So they defined their problem as that we need to be able to get more arcade games into schools. So they thought they'd work out how school can come together and make their own arcade game. So this is them painting it here, defining the problem. And I'll show you in a little while what they created. Simple solutions using visual programs. This is the Scratch program that they're using. And these are, it's a game of memory with different musical notes behind it. So this was what the boys made with their music. Well, and here's the pieces of music that they're creating. So you can see here, they're looking at this, they can see that the music is represented as a wave on that pattern. And then we also had parents coming in and giving feedback about the games that they were playing. And then they were changing their games depending on that user feedback. Can I still 30 more seconds? This is Caitlin's class that we Skyped with. So they're actually explaining how to set up a game and to play the platform Exploder. I'll make this slideshow available for everyone afterwards as well. And then we finished with a showcase. So this is a showcase of all of the games that we made where we got feedback and showed to the community that gaming is good. That was what they wanted to solve. So they had to actually plan and manage the whole project with each other, book the space, set up how people were going to walk through it, and I'll just skip through. This was the arcade game at the end that they designed, so using a Matey Matey and Mario Brothers, and I love the lineup. It's just like an arcade game that they made. And then this was the showcase. But I'll share that out so that you can see all of those links if you wanted to have a look at it a bit more closely. Okay.
Thanks.
So, goodbye.
Any questions from Mel about that? Okay, we have one more 7-minute presentation this afternoon from Jan from the Immigration Museum. Welcome, Jan.
Can someone get Storify up, please?
Jan is going to talk about Twitter, Today's Meet, and Storify.
Well,
Welcome.
I'm going to sort of pose some questions
Maybe.
about it. All right, everybody. My name's Jan. I'm manage education at the Immigration Museum, and in the last couple of years, it's almost 2 years, we started a Twitter account for MV teachers. So we've been trying to work in social media space to communicate with teachers who are using Twitter. How many people here are on Twitter? Okay, so how many people follow MV teachers on Twitter? Yeah, some people do. All right, so we thought it was a good way to direct information and share in real time things that we're doing, and we've had some amazing connections with schools and students who are bringing students into the museum and actually tweeting about their experience, and then we happen to, all of us who work in education, and there's not many of us, but we can have our accounts open, and if we notice that there's someone in one of our museums tweeting about us, we will tweet back and give some real-time connection. We then started to talk and think about what else could we do and how could we work with this medium to bring in other elements and make further connections. And one of the things people have told us is that the idea of the expert in the museum is a really, really interesting element that can be utilised for your classroom experience and for the students to get a perspective on something. So, you know, a scientist from the museum connecting through. So we started to think, how can we do that? And we came up with the idea of a Twitter tour. And some of you may or may not have been aware of a Twitter tour. And you can't all be on Twitter all the time because you're in classrooms and we're all doing other things. So we started to think, how do we connect those things together? And Storify was the one means that we felt was a perfect way to get that material archived. Now, who knows what Storify is and who uses Storify? Not many. All right. So Storify is a means where you can archive and collect together a series of tweets, and then use that series of tweets, and it will stay on Storify, but you can tweet out a link or you can put it into your blog, and that way you are collecting and keeping that information available for other people to use and access. And for us, one of the things that we're doing all of the time with anything that we're tweeting is we're trying really hard to tweet with content. So tweet a link or tweet a connection. So it's not just a statement, it's something that is giving you value about something else or about a topic that we're tweeting. So this year, we're because we're based in the city, our museum, Immigration Museum and Melbourne Museum, were part of a program called the Melbourne City Experience, which was a program for teachers who were contemplating bringing a group of students into the city. And what we did was we ran a couple of Twitter tours prior to having that professional learning day as an introduction for teachers to what they might do in the city. We actually walked around and we tweeted as we walked, and then we storified it and we shared it, and we shared it with all the people who were participants, and we used it therefore as a model of what you might do in the classroom. And then what we did also was we used Today's Meet. Do people know Today's Meet? So we used Today's Meet, which is just a sort of a closed Twitter account, as a means by which we could model an interaction while we were in the city. We got everyone who was involved who didn't want to go onto Twitter to go onto our Today's Meet, and then we collected that and used that as another means of connecting with what you're doing using social media. So what I was just going to try and do here, if I can, where are we? Yeah. I hope I'm going to be able to get in. If not, actually, it doesn't matter. If I can't get in, I'll send it around. I just realised it's empty. I can't get out of it now. No, it's going ridiculous. Did you just see both? All right.
There's just a space before the M.
Right?
There's a space before
Oh,
the M.
there's space. Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Yeah, I'll be right. Maybe? No, it's not going to work. It's all right. Forget it.
Got 1 minute.
No, it's all right. It's not going to happen. I'll just keep talking. It doesn't matter because I'll send it around and you can talk about it. But what I'd like to just say is I think that the idea of using Storify and then archiving Storify and then seeing that as another resource is it's really powerful, and it's a really good way to work with material once you're using Twitter. So that's all. There we go. You got it. So what we did was we created this one, and it's therefore a much easier way of finding anything that you might do. So basically we picked up all of the work that we did, and you can just scroll through it and continue to talk about what we've done, and it's there, and it's a really, really effective resource. There you go. And I'd just like to plug that we're hosting the next Teach Meet, which is on the 9th of May, at the Immigration Museum, and Lottie from Asia Education Foundation. So we're sort of co-hosting. So we'd love anyone here to come along if you like the model of what a teachmeet is. And one of the things that's happening at that teachmeet, there's quite a few pre-service teachers already put their names down. So for us, it's going to be a really positive way if there's a lot of in-service teachers come along, because that's the best way of learning and expanding. And Dan, probably it'd be great if you were prepared to come and talk about your blogging, because I think that's a really a bit of an incentive, because I think a lot of pre-service teachers are being encouraged to blog, etc. But if they can see that there's an application in the classroom, it makes it even more powerful. Okay, thanks.
So that's the Teachmeet Melbourne Wiki Space. Thank you to everybody for coming. It's been a great night. Some really good quality presenters and some first-time presenters as well. So thank you for making it a really comfortable experience for those people, and well done to everybody who got up here for the first time and was streamed live. So well done. And I think Mel just wants to say
I do. Just on behalf of Teachmeet Melbourne, I just wanted to say thanks, Beck, for putting on a Teachmeet, and to the staff here. And it's great to have something that's not necessarily right in the middle of the city, and to be able to spread our wings a little bit. So it's it was great. I did say I felt like I was coming out to the country, but it was nice to do that. And it's wonderful to see so many dedicated teachers out here that are coming along to attend this. And just as Jan said, just remember the next one is on at the 9th. But if anyone is interested in running their own Teachmeet is a self-organising thing that happens. So it's just a matter of hopping onto the wiki, signing up, and then putting in whenever you want to host one, whether it's at your school, your pub, your home, if you want to. You can pop that up there. So yeah, again, thank you very much to Beck and the school, and for organising the streaming and food and everything we've had here tonight. So thank you.
Thanks.